First thing I realized was my face hurt and my ankle hurt. I remember kind of, just barely opening my eyes, and I was kind of panning the room. And that's when I realized that I was handcuffed to the hospital bed. Once I realized that, I started asking for a nurse. Instead of a nurse coming in, a police officer actually walked in. He told me that the night prior, I'd been driving my car. I was visually intoxicated, and he told me that I veered into the next lane and that I struck a vehicle. He finally told me that I had killed the person in the other vehicle. I actually didn't start drinking till I was in the 11th grade, so I was like 16, 17 years old. So I started a little later. However, I instantly became an active alcoholic. I had a huge lack of self-confidence when I was in high school, and the moment I drank, I just felt that lifted. I felt like I could talk to anyone. I was someone who, within probably my second or third time drinking, I could drink 12 to 15 beers and be fine, not slurring my words, not stumbling. In probably a few months, I started drinking. I started smoking pot pretty frequently. I started popping pills. Like, I went from this, this kid who was scared to talk to anyone to instantly I was okay to go to a party and talk to people. One of the things that I remember most, especially in the 6 months prior to my sentencing, was waking up every day, and for a split 2 to 3 second window, I woke up and everything was normal because I didn't remember for that split second what situation I was in, and then everything would hit me because I had an alcohol tether on, so that'd be like the first sensation that I felt was there was something wrapped around my ankle. That led to me obviously remembering, I'm in this predicament, and I made this choice that I never thought the consequences could be so drastic. There were some really dark times in those first couple months where I quite honestly didn't want to be here anymore. I couldn't comprehend how anything that I did from that moment on was going to be good. I didn't understand how there's going to be any more positives in my life at that moment forward. I thought that I was irredeemable. The courtroom is a strange place. It's the place where you can't hide from anything. It's a physical embodiment of what had happened. It's like you're here because of that, and it just hits you so hard. They call me up to the stand. I was weeping at this moment, and then the attorney for the family stepped up and read a letter from this family who is not present in the courtroom. They live in Bosnia, so they couldn't be present. But they wrote this letter that essentially stated that they forgave me for what I did, and that they didn't want me to do any jail time. Yeah, that's a moment that I will never forget. It's the moment that I can attribute from going from being an agnostic to being a believer in Jesus Christ, because I knew at that point that something had to have been working in their life to be able to forgive me in 6 months for what had happened. I was nowhere near forgiving myself. I didn't think that another person could forgive me. I didn't think my parents could forgive me. I didn't think friends and family could forgive me. At that point, I didn't think that even if there was a God, that He would forgive me. But this family forgiving me, it still, to me, is the most miraculous thing that's happened in my life. After this letter was read in the courtroom, my judge, Mary Tranowski, people also call her Scary Mary, and it's ironic because the reason why she's called Scary Mary is because of her toughness on drunk driving offenses.
She's the iron-fisted judge known as Scary Mary.
I'm not allowing it. That's it. I'm done.
You can't do those kinds of things in society and not expect consequences. We don't need you. You need us.
She basically gave a speech, in a way, to the courtroom, stating that in her, I think she said, 25 years of being a judge, she had never heard such compassion from a family for someone and not want maximum jail time. She couldn't, in her own mind, in her own heart, not give me any jail time like the family had asked, but that she was going to drop it down to a year in jail, which actually equates to 10 months in jail. On top of that, I was given 5 years of probation, which I still have 19 months to serve as of today. It wasn't until I was actually in a transport van on the way to the jail that it kind of all crashed down on me, and I had a smile on my face, and I'm pretty sure I was the only person with a smile on their face in a transport van going to jail. It was this really intense moment of just like pure elation in the most bizarre place to have it. You're handcuffed to the people next to you, so I'm sitting there like this with just a smile on my face because I know that my life is going to be better at that moment. It was this moment of freedom, knowing that the people that I knew I hurt most actually forgave me, and also that the God that I didn't know if He was there or not, I knew that He was. And I knew that at that point He was going to work in my life because He had worked in their life. Once I actually started thinking about forgiveness and just kind of what that means, I really started thinking about the family's forgiveness and God's forgiveness. Okay, if these people, if they forgave me and if God forgave me, then who am I not to forgive myself? I knew that by not forgiving myself, I was holding myself back from being able to utilize this story to help people. It took a lot of therapy. It took a lot of going to AA meetings. It took a lot of just talking about it quite a bit to get comfortable enough to discuss it with myself and to discuss it with God about what does forgiving myself even look like. If you would have asked me when I was the man laying in that hospital bed, handcuffed with the deputy in the room, if I thought that my life was gonna ever be okay or somehow better than it was, the night prior, I would have thought you lost your mind. And it's just a testament to what can happen when you let God into your life. I feel guilty for what happened. I will always feel guilty, but I will never let that hold me back in life again, because if I do, then I'm not using it for, what God wants me to use it for. That's the thing about God. There's a lot of things that He does that we can't comprehend. And it's just, it's amazing. There's just really no other way of putting it.